Hi guys, it's Dr. Peets Talbot, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of the frequently asked questions I get when I have a parent or even an adult that I want to start them on an elimination diet. So one, what is an elimination diet? That's essentially when I say stuff like your child should be gluten-free, or you should be dairy-free, or you should avoid sugar, or you should avoid corn. That means that you're taking out like a big food group out of your diet and you're going to try to eliminate or avoid that. And it's usually easier said than done, and I get that. And so it always comes with a lot of questions as you're trying to navigate it, okay? So in this video, which I'm hoping to make short and sweet, I want to give you not only some answer some of the questions that are probably automatically going to come to your mind, but also give you some tips on how to survive it. All right, and that's what you really want to probably really key in, because those are survival tips. Everybody needs those, right? Some of the other common things that I tend to tell people to stop giving their child or themselves is either soy, corn, or sugar. Okay, so it depends. All right, it could be as little as 3 weeks, and it could be as long as forever. Okay, and the only way we're gonna know is by trial and error. Okay, so that's the short and quick answer, is it's a range. Okay, and the only way we're gonna know is to try. Okay, so as little as 3 weeks, but it could be forever. And that's a really good question. I ask myself that question all the time, especially with my kids, because my kids are gluten-free, dairy-free, and corn-free for the most part. And I have been able to eat those sorts of foods when I was a kid. And I don't have a lot of scientific basis for this, but I do understand. And there's probably other doctors who could probably quote studies, and I don't even know if we've gotten through there yet. But we have to realize that, me being close to in my 40s, and being close to being 40 years ago, the food didn't look like what it did now. So we didn't have as much chemicals in our foods. We didn't have as much genetically modified food. None of that was even heard of. So the food that my kids are eating are now completely different from what I'm eating. And so that's why we think that kids cannot tolerate the foods that we used to be able to eat, is because the food really essentially could look the same, but really isn't the same as what we eat. So that's what we're finding. So for instance, they're going to a birthday party and it's going to be a pizza, or it's going to be ice cream involved, and your kids are gluten-free, dairy-free. How do I navigate that with my kids? Ideally, so there's 2 ways that you can do this, and there's nothing is wrong with either way, okay? But I've kind of had parents have success with either of these ways. One is you can prepare. Okay, so you can make your kid or give your kid a gluten-free, dairy-free pizza and have them take that along with them to the party, and then they're eating their pizza with their colleagues. And kids tend to love that because they're still feeling included with their peers. And you can do the same, have them have their own ice cream or their dairy-free ice cream. Or you can, I find that this is kind of helpful, especially if I'm in a rush and I can't prepare, is using digestive enzymes that really help to break up those allergens or those proteins that actually are quite is what we're really trying to avoid. And so in our office, we use a brand called Allergenza. It's a very good digestive enzyme. And what I would do is I would give that to my daughters before they're about to go to their party. And then if they do have the gluten pizza or the dairy, then they'll have a big, strong reaction from it. So those at the time, those are the two ways that I feel that you can avoid or at least help to navigate that situation. So the situation would be, for instance, perhaps your kid was out and about, maybe they was in a classroom, somebody bought a treat, non-knowingly they had the treat, but the treat maybe had gluten in it or something like that. Then what do you do after it? So what could you do for a post-exposure? And what I have found that really works post-exposure is one, you could do nothing and just deal with the reaction, okay? And that could be something that you may not see show up for 3 days, and it could be 3 weeks. And eventually, whatever reaction will subside. Or what I find is that really helpful is start things that help to heal the gut and help to kind of repair any damage that might have been made from this exposure. And those things are such things as collagen. You could do bone broth. I'd like to use a supplement that we have in the office called Inner Healing. And what's so great about Inner Healing is it has a combination of things that herbs that we know are great for the gut, like ginger, echinacea, golden seal, turmeric, those sorts of things. Those are the things that really, really help. Well, this is it. I think that the best that you can, and if they really I really think that if they genuinely want, to help you, be successful and your kid to be healthy, is to have them buy into it as much as possible and really explain to them. It's really an education point, and really explain to them that your child gets sick or is having a reaction if they have these foods. And and a lot of people understand allergies, and so sometimes just simply explaining it as an allergy, even though it's not necessarily the stereotypical allergy that where people are used to, just explaining it as an allergy helps people to get it. And always, if you need to throw me under the bus or throw your doctor under the bus, people tend to respect that, my child's doctor said that they need to be, on this special diet, and people really get that. I know I have no problem taking full responsibility for all my kids who I tell to be on a special diet. So don't feel afraid to just say, hey, this is what the doctor ordered and this is how it's got to be. And hopefully, good luck with your family and friends. But all in all, I think they want the best for you, and they want the best for your kids. So it will all work out eventually. Because I understand that in this day and age where gluten, dairy, corn, soy, sugar seems to be in everything that you give your kid, that you are going to feel like it's a bit of a daunting task to take all of that out of their diet if that's what needs to be done. All right, so this is how I survive elimination diets for my kids and myself. One, prepare. Prepare means meal prepping, okay? So in the beginning of your week, kind of have an idea about what meals that you want to have for your kids, what do you want to send to them for lunch, and what snacks. And a lot of that stuff is probably going to be things that you rotate, but within like a small list. And make sure that you grocery shop for those things on the day that you grocery shop. So you always want to have what you need, easy access in your cupboards or in your fridge. So make sure that you kind of think ahead, prepare, and meal prep. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Number 2, read the ingredients on the ingredient list on the package very well. And that way you don't run into inadvertently yourself giving your kids something that they're not supposed to. And so, as you know, the ingredient list could be a a bit daunting as well. But a lot of times, because soy, dairy, gluten, those are really big problems for people. Sometimes you'll see that they're even on board for you. So, or they would just say contains soy. So you don't have to figure out if some big long word has soy in it. So it's gotten a bit easier to read the label. So, but take out the time to read them. It'll really help your life out in the end. The next thing is to cook, okay, from scratch. All right. And this one could be difficult, but I think if I can do it as a busy, doctor, mom, cooking from scratch, really, exactly what is in it when you're cooking from scratch, especially if you're using whole foods and whole ingredients, and not too much things that come out of packages, then you have the utmost control. So try to cook some stuff from scratch, okay? The next thing is Google your recipes. That helps you to cook things from scratch. So I like to kind of cook sometimes on the fly, and sometimes I don't have a recipe, off that I know in my head. I haven't memorized one, but it's not unusual that I will be looking for a vegan, gluten-free cupcake or gluten-free vegan donut because I have a craving for them. And what I would do is I would just Google those words, and soon or later, like in a second, there is going to be a list of people who have tried vegan donut, and they're giving these recipes on the internet for free, and I just go through them. And sometimes I have to swap things out and substitute, which I do. Which is the next point, is that when you are doing these recipes, some of them may not be perfect. So sometimes I might find a recipe that looks awesome, but it has eggs. I try to avoid it, so I'll just substitute it out for a egg substitute, such as a flaxseed, which will give me a flaxseed, or chia seed, which will give me a chia egg. So just know that there is things that you can do to substitute out a regular recipe. And so I'm going to also at the bottom of this video show you a link that you can see some common things to substitute. So what you can substitute for flour, and what you can substitute for dairy and milk, and what you can substitute for egg, and even what you can substitute for sugar. Okay, so the last thing is don't be a skeptic yourself, okay? Leave the skepticism to your family and friends, but the sooner you buy in to understanding that elimination diets are for real, food sensitivities, food intolerances are for real, they really do cause reactions, and if your kid gets or yourself gets a little bit of this or and exposure to this, then they're going to have a health consequence. The sooner you understand that, the sooner your life will be. So I find that people who buy in and kind of understand the significance and the gravity of it actually have better health results than those who don't. So don't be a skeptic all your life. Anyway, I hope those 5 tips help you, okay? All right, so just to summarize, prepare your meals and grocery shop in advance. Make sure you read all the ingredient labels. Make sure that you cook from scratch, and don't be afraid to Google recipes and substitute out ingredients if you have to. And last, don't be a skeptic, okay? Anyway, ta-ta, good luck.